Hello, everyone. We're gonna discuss cloud for marketing. And essentially, what we're gonna talk about is how you could leverage modern cloud technology to get more value from your data in the context of building better customer experiences and providing more value from the investments you're doing in your marketing and advertising. And essentially, what we're going to discuss is the data piece of what we refer to as the performance machine. So if you haven't already seen Johan's brilliant video on the performance engine, I absolutely recommend you to do that. And I want you, if you have done so already, I want you to try to keep the mental image of us creating the fuel in that machine, because that's basically what we're discussing when we're talking about cloud for marketing is how can we build the best possible fuel for the machinery that provides performance marketing or marketing in general for you. And before diving into the actual cloud components, I wanted to take a quick look at what's surrounding us and the challenges we are facing as marketers right now. And as you all know, the consumer behavior is constantly evolving. Our consumers are interacting with us in any way, shape, or form. That could be through an app, to call center, in-store, online. And all those interactions, they leave small data points. Often those data points are siloed within their own systems, within their own teams. And it makes it complex to look at those consumer journeys across multiple touch points, across multiple activities and interactions. In addition, users are expecting more from us. They're expecting us to be transparent, to be open, to provide control over how their data is being collected and how their data is being used. And those expectations are leading into a lot of changes in our industry. There's a lot of things like ITP, ETP, changes in browsers are changing elsewhere, and there's changes in regulations across the entire world. And that leads to a significant shift and change in how you can collect data, how you should collect data, and also how you can activate that data. And as marketer, there is a lot of tempting solutions to help you solve for that. A lot of technologies and platforms shortened with a 3-letter acronym. And we sincerely mean that technology is a crucial component for us to bring that data to life, but it's not the solution. You need to combine technology with the right usage and the right mindset. So it often can be tempting to look into platforms or solutions that could fix it all, but we strongly believe that there is no silver bullet to this. It's a journey, it's an incremental journey on how you build use case by use case and combining what you're having. And that's what we're going to discuss. It's very tough to look into the crystal ball and predict the future, but I think it's very, very safe to say that in the near future, at least, we will actually see less data. And I'm not talking about less data in total, but I'm speaking about less data in the context of advertising compared to what we've been used to for the last years. So the time where we could drop a cookie on whatever user, whatever device, whatever interaction is paused. Users will need to consent to provide the data and to give us access to use that data. On the other side, the data that we are collecting, the first-party data that you're holding, is getting more accurate due to the exact same mechanics. And that opens a whole lot of opportunities for us. It will be more complex because there will be more touch points, there will be more data silos, there will be more people to involved in the process. But regardless of how the technology evolves, how consumer behavior evolves, and how everything goes, we need to act privacy first. I think our users are now expecting us to be transparent and open and in control of their data, and we need to design with that in mind. And I think it's a crucial component, is a step zero in this journey, is for you to have a clear understanding of why should users give you their consent. I think it's not about getting consent, but it's about deserving consent. And very, very few brands out there are using all the data they're already collecting to actually build better consumer experiences. And if we can solve that, if you could solve that, if you have a clear value proposition of why users should share their data, you will probably have a lot more data and consents moving forward. So imagine all the sites you've been visiting and you accepted, can I use your data to personalize the experience? And then nothing happens. There is no personalization, there is no relevance. That's a very one-way value exchange. So regardless of how good the technology is, regardless of how good we are using machine learning to build value from the data, we still need to get consent, and you still need to use that data to provide value for users. So looking back at what we're creating here, what we're trying to create is basically fuel for that performance machine. Let's call it rocket fuel. And the first step, the ingredients, is data. And that data is come to you by consent. The second step is how we're setting that together. And I think let's jump over to understand how advertising, modern advertising, actually works. Basically, all performance marketing you're buying is based on auctions. So whether that is keywords on search, or it's display, or it's video, it's all being purchased on small auctions where you are bidding based on algorithms. Sometimes those algorithms are super simple. There could be, if this keyword, then bid, or if this domain, or if this ad space, or if this publisher, then bid. Or it could be more advanced machine learning algorithms, like I want this output, and please buy whatever you need to get me that result. That's typically auto bidding or smart bidding, or all the automation features in the platforms working that way. That if you tell the machine what to do, the machine will give you the right impressions and the right clicks to achieve that goal. So if you have the world's best machine to help you do that, you better tell that machine to get to the right thing. And this is the first step, I would say, or the second step in this journey, is how could we enable your data to tell the machine to get you what you want. So let's use an example. If you're selling insurances, car insurances, and what most people are doing, what most companies are doing, is that they're having some sort of an online order form or a lead form. So you would have a website where you collect leads or applications for an insurance, and you would place a tracking script on that web page, and as soon as someone submitted that one, you would optimize for that. And it's very simple. So most advertisers are doing that, because all you need is a JavaScript on your page, and then you sending data back to the platforms. However, most companies doesn't want leads. They want customers. They want leads that turn into become customers. So the more advanced and more mature marketers are combining the data from their offline systems, where they're actually transforming those leads into customers and sending those data points back into the system. That's what we often call offline conversions or import conversions using an API. And that will enable you to tell the machine that those leads actually turned into customers, and that's what I really want. And then you have the most mature and the most advanced marketers, and the ones we want you to become, where you could use your data to actually tell the machine which customers are the most profitable ones. So instead of telling the machine that this exact lead turned into a customer, you can say that this exact lead turned into a profitable customer that has a higher value than the other customer, and by that I'm willing to pay a bit more for those customers. And that enables you both to connect the data you already have, but also to analyze to understand who of those customers brings the most value. So when we talk about cloud for marketing, we're basically talking about bringing all the data you're already having into a cloud environment to be able to tell the machine, to tell the platforms you're using, the difference between a lead and a customer and a profitable customer. And then we need to move beyond media data or advertising data as you have in those complex silos. You need to move beyond website or app data that you typically have in your analytics tool and into the space of CRM, marketing data, marketing platform data, or even enterprise data. And of course, this example with insurance and leads, customers, and profitable customers is just one out of many. As soon as you have all the data in one place, you will be able to also answer to other questions like, how could I use the website traffic I have to predict the demand for a specific product? Or how could I use the interactions I'm having in my app to understand what customers are buying offline? So the second step in creating that rocket fuel is to take all the data you have and bring that up in the cloud. And you can do that with Google Cloud by using the pre-built connectors we have in Google Marketing Platform and Google Ads. And you can use third-party connectors from whatever tool you're using. Whatever type of structured and unstructured data could be brought into the cloud. And as soon as we have uploaded that, you need to transform that data to understand that a user ID in this context refers to the user in the other context and in that context. And that's where the consent and the availability to have users to log in and provide you with those details is crucial. And the third step, when you have that set up and you have that data available in the cloud, you're capable of visualizing that to get more understanding, to turn data into insights and bring that to your entire organization, and to act on it, to send those data signals back into the bidding platform or the direct marketing platform or whatever platform you're using. And this is a crucial thing to remember, that it's very, very easy to bring all the data together and upload it to the cloud. It's not that easy to bring value from it, to act on it. And that's where you need to focus. That is my kind of biggest recommendation and most important recommendation here right now, is to ensure that when you're building that setup and when you're aiming for a cloud for marketing setup, you're having a crystal clear focus on what should the output be, what should the activation be, how should you act differently, how should you change your messaging or your investments or your bidding once you're there. And the third step is, how can you then leverage the advanced analytical capabilities of cloud to bring more value from the data you're already having? And it's a journey, everything's a journey, and typically what we see is that you bring all your data together and then you start by looking at what happened. You're looking in the mirror, looking at what did we do wrong, and you really hope that you will be able to transfer that into a changed behavior. So looking at my previous campaign, I want to learn this and that, and I want to change this and that. And then you slowly moving towards a more real-time look at your data, going from looking at what happened to monitoring what's actually happening. And instead of hoping that you can learn something from what you did in the past and change in the future, you would be able to act real time, to turn things off if it doesn't work, or to turn things up if it really works. But the most interesting part is when you can combine the data you have and the insights you have right now and predict what's going to happen. And with machine learning, that is easier and more accessible than ever before. With all your data uploaded in, for instance, Google Cloud, you could actually predict the lifetime value of a customer or whether a customer wants to buy a particular product just with a few lines of database code of SQL code. And that is a radical change from a few years ago where you needed a full set of data engineers and data specialists to actually use analysts to understand and predict what's going to happen. And ideally, you will end up in a place where you could predict what's going to happen and automate all operations based on that. And I think we've all been talking about personalized one-to-one automated marketing. That is not something you just push the button and play. That's a result of many incremental jobs and many incremental projects that you've been doing and learn from. So keep in mind that there's no companies jumping from step 1 to step 4. There's no companies that go from a siloed looking at what happened reports on mail to a fully automated setup. It's a journey, and there's a lot of things that happens in between. But when you do that successfully, and when you have the data available, you could predict things like, what will a customer be worth for me? Like, what is the lifetime value based on the data points I have right now? Or what is the next best product? And if you have looked at Johan talking about the performance machine, you will remember an example of a cruise line that's selling 2 cruises. And the question is, should you optimize for the highest revenue or the most potential long-time value? And with things like lifetime value prediction, you could be able to predict at the time of a purchase whether that, based on the things they purchase and the pattern and the context around that purchase and your historical data, whether that will probably be a more valuable customer in the future or not. And that's a significant benefit when you are bidding against all of your competitors on those same impressions or on those same clicks. But to get there, we highly, highly recommend to start simple. Start with what you know, start with what you have, and a very, very clear use case. This is not solved by one platform. This is not solved by one tool. It's solved by having a clear focus on what you want to change and build incrementally on that. So focus on one use case and do not wait. I repeat that, do not wait for that very, very large enterprise IT project. That large enterprise IT project will potentially provide you with the data you need and the platform to use it, but you will still need to understand how would this bring value for me in the context of my business and my customers. So start simple, identify the use cases, and build incrementally on that. And that was about what I'm going to tell you today. And I'm going to repeat that to build that fuel, the fuel we need for the performance machine, ensure that you use the data you're collecting from customers respectfully and meaningfully to deserve consent. And if you do that right, they will give it to you. And then upload what you already know, the data you're already having to cloud to benefit from the modern cloud technology and to be able to optimize for profits, not necessarily leads or clicks. And finally, when you have your data in cloud, you can take advantage of the extremely easy and accessible machine learning tools to predict what's going to happen and predict your outcomes. Thank you.